Welcome back. Today, we're cracking open a true classic. We're looking at Napoleon Hill's legendary framework, Think and Grow Rich. Look, if you've ever wondered how the absolute titans of industry turn their abstract ideas into concrete, real-world success, you are in the exact right place. We're going to explore Hill's concepts together, breaking them down so we can actually apply these insights today. Let's get right into it.
It all starts with one massive question, right? What actually separates highly successful people from everyone else? Decades ago, Napoleon Hill set out to answer this exact thing, and he didn't just guess. He spent years analyzing hundreds of the most successful figures of his time. We're talking giants like Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, and Henry Ford. And it's wild, because these guys weren't just born lucky. Ford, for example, famously went bankrupt multiple times before finally hitting it big. Hill was looking for that shared DNA of achievement that pushed these icons through failure right to the top of their fields.
Okay, let's dive into this. Intelligence? Luck? Formal education? Well, according to Hill's research, the secret to success requires natively having absolutely none of these three things, which is kind of a relief, isn't it? I mean, we've all seen highly educated people who never quite find their footing, and plenty of folks who started with terrible luck and zero schooling who went on to literally change the world. So if it's not a sky-high IQ or just a stroke of good fortune, what exactly is it?
The answer comes down to 13 specific principles. Hill realized that success isn't just some random accident, it's a replicable process. And the core takeaway here is incredibly empowering. Absolutely anyone, regardless of your background or where you are right now, can achieve success by following these exact 13 principles. Think of them like a universal operating system for achievement.
To make this super actionable, let's chunk these 13 principles into 4 phases to prevent overwhelm: the foundation, designing the blueprint, execution and persistence, and finally, tapping the higher mind.
Starting off with Phase 1, the foundation. This is the absolutely critical inner work you have to do before taking any external action.
Principle number 1 is desire. As Hill points out, every great achievement kicks off with a burning desire. We're not talking about a casual wish or a maybe someday. We're talking about a definite goal backed by intense passion. To make this real, Hill gives us 5 specific steps to turn that passion into reality. First, define your goal with absolute clarity. Second, decide exactly what you're willing to give up in return, because nothing is free. Third, set a hard deadline. Fourth, create your plan of action. And fifth, read that goal out loud every single day. A weak desire gives you weak results, but a strong desire, that creates unstoppable momentum.
This brings us right to Principle 2, faith. Now, faith here is the ability to believe in something before you can actually see it in the real world. You see, your subconscious mind is completely neutral. It just accepts whatever thoughts you keep feeding it. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I can do this, your mind actively starts hunting for evidence and opportunities to make it happen. On the flip side, if you think, I can't, your mind eagerly finds all the reasons to support your limitations. Successful people deliberately use positive affirmations and vivid visualizations to build that belief.
And that whole mechanism of feeding your mind? That's Principle 3, autosuggestion. Think of your mind like a really fertile garden. Whatever seeds you plant over and over, whether they're seeds of success or seeds of doubt, are going to take root and grow. Autosuggestion is just the active process of planting the right seeds. By reading your goals morning and night and truly visualizing yourself already there, your subconscious accepts those goals as reality, and eventually your daily actions just naturally and effortlessly align with that internal vision.
Let's move to Phase 2, designing the blueprint, and see how this builds. This is where those internal thoughts become real-world plans.
Here we hit Principle 4, specialized knowledge. We've all heard the phrase, knowledge is power, right? Well, Hill actually corrects this. Knowledge alone is strictly potential power. Applied knowledge is actual power. The most successful people aren't out there trying to be encyclopedias, knowing a little bit about everything. Instead, they hyper-focus on acquiring specific, specialized skills that directly serve their ultimate goals. Basically, learning only matters if you actually apply it.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Hill breaks Principle 5, imagination, into 2 distinct types. He argues that every single business or invention starts in the workshop of the mind. Synthetic imagination is when you take existing ideas and just rearrange them into new combinations. It's how we do most of our everyday problem solving. But creative imagination? That's a whole different beast. That's where entirely new inspiration comes from, where you tap into those sudden breakthroughs. High achievers constantly push both types by asking what if and how can this be improved. They use their imagination to spot opportunities exactly where everyone else just sees roadblocks.
So, once you've imagined your path, you need Principle 6, organized planning. Because dreams without practical plans are just illusions. But here is the critical insight. Plans fail, all the time. When a plan falls apart, unsuccessful people take it as a sign to just throw in the towel. Successful people, though, they realize that failure doesn't mean the goal itself is impossible. It just means that specific plan was flawed. They simply adapt and create a new one. Remember, never confuse a failed plan with a failed dream.
That brings us to phase 3, execution and persistence. This is where the rubber meets the road.
And this brilliantly illustrates Principle 7, decision. Hill noticed a striking pattern among the wealthy individuals he studied. The successful are fast to make decisions and very slow to change them. The unsuccessful, the exact opposite. They are painfully slow to decide, usually paralyzed by the fear of criticism or waiting for that perfect moment, and yet they are incredibly fast to abandon their choices the second things get tough. To win, you've got to defeat procrastination. Decide, commit, and move forward with absolute conviction.
Of course, once you make a decision, you're going to face adversity. That's why Principle 8 is persistence. Most people quit way too soon at the very first sign of rejection. But Hill teaches that persistence is directly powered by that initial desire we talked about back in phase 1. If your why is strong enough, any obstacle is just a temporary detour, not a dead end. Every single massively successful person in history has failed. The only difference is they absolutely refuse to stop.
Principle 9 shifts our focus outward. And this is so important. No one succeeds completely alone. This is the mastermind principle. A mastermind is basically a carefully chosen group of people actively working together toward a common goal. By combining different perspectives, specialized knowledge, and collective experience, the group creates a power way greater than any one person. Your environment and your peer group actively dictate your future, so you've got to choose your inner circle very, very wisely.
Principle 10 is definitely one of the most fascinating ones. The mystery of transmuted energy. Look, human beings experience incredibly intense emotions, but instead of letting those feelings become a distraction or turn into destructive habits, extraordinary achievers learn to channel them. They redirect that raw emotional energy into a laser-focused drive for their goals. They take that intense energy and literally use it to build, to create, to lead, and to innovate.
Finally, we've reached phase 4, tapping the higher mind. This is all about accessing deeper levels of insight and mastery.
Principle 11 goes deeper into the subconscious mind. We touched on this earlier, but here Hill emphasizes that your subconscious is an engine running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It stores every single belief, habit, and emotion you have. Because it blindly follows whatever instructions you give it, you absolutely have to protect it from negativity. You need to intentionally feed it a strict diet of positive thoughts, unshakable confidence, deep gratitude, and fiery ambition. Principle 12 focuses on the brain. Hill actually imagined the human brain as a broadcasting and receiving station for thought vibrations. Sure, modern neuroscience uses different words now, but the core lesson hits the nail on the head. The quality of your deliberate thinking directly dictates the quality of your life. Breakthrough ideas almost never happen in chaos. They show up when your mind is focused, calm, and receptive. You literally have to schedule time to think, reflect, and synthesize everything you're learning. And that brings us to the very pinnacle. Principle 13, the sixth sense. Now, this isn't some mystical magic. It's highly developed intuition. He'll argue that true intuition isn't something you're born with. It is earned. It's your ultimate inner guidance system, and it only really activates after you've diligently mastered the first 12 principles. When you combine deep knowledge, real experience, unwavering faith, and solid planning, you start having those moments where you simply know the exact right move to make.
So the crucial point is this: success leaves clues, and Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime gathering them into this exact framework. The foundation of desire, the blueprint of planning, the resilience of execution, and the power of a finely tuned mind, these are all tools entirely at your disposal right now. Are you ready to trust your newly built intuition and actually apply these 13 principles today? The power to transform your reality is literally in your hands. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we keep breaking down the ideas that shape our world.